ladies. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being part of this community. And I'm going to be sharing something today that actually comes from a request from you guys. So a while back, a couple episodes back, I talked to you about delegating and getting help around the house. And I had so many people ask me to really just dive deeper into that topic. And so today that is what we're talking about. We are talking about how to get help around the house. And I think that it's not just about the help, but it's about the mental attitude that getting help does for us, because sometimes as moms we can feel really unappreciated, we can feel really unseen, and whenever we get help we realize that people are in it with us, our family members, that we don't have to do it all on our own. We don't have to be superwoman. We can get help. Other people can help us in all of these chores and all of the things that we have to do. And so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how to do that and the practical side of that. So before you even ask anybody for help, which I think is something, honestly, for myself, is really hard for me to ask for help. So this is something that I've been working on myself. But before you do any of that, you have to let go of this feeling of being a martyr. Like, oh, no one's gonna help me, kind of like a pity party, you know. We can kind of all be that way sometimes, but letting go of this idea that, oh, if I don't get this done, no one's gonna get it done. I have to do it all myself. I never have time for this. And you know, I'm just so busy with everything that I have to do. And now I have to do this and this and this. Let's let go of that martyr mentality. There's a verse that keeps coming to my mind all the time whenever I was dealing with this, and that was, do everything without grumbling or complaining. So we have to let go of that martyr attitude right away. So we're going to talk about delegating to family members, but also finding outside help. So the first is to arrange your life so that you have to get your stuff done in order for your family to get the stuff done that you've delegated to them. So one perfect example of this is our laundry. We have a pretty specific laundry process in our home. We have a lot of family members in our home right now. And so if I am not on top of laundry, even if I miss 1 or 2 days, it seems like it just can be overwhelming. So part of our kids' chores are putting their clothes away, but in order for them to do their chores, I have to do mine, which means I have to put the clean clothes into the basket. I have to sort everything out. But whenever you get kids to do their own laundry, you know, you're getting kids to take their clothes to their room, picking up, giving them and delegating to them, you have to make it easy for them. You have to make it fun for them. So we have a basket for every kid, and they have their names on them. They know exactly where everything has to go, and it just gives them a sense of responsibility. So we don't really give them a choice. We say, okay, these are your chores. We show them how to do their chores first off. We make sure that they understand what we expect, and then we try to keep that fine line between making their bed over again when they've done their best and like shattering their self-esteem, but also getting to the point where they're making their bed in the best possible way that they can for their age. So what I might expect an 8-year-old to do making their bed is not going to be the same that I expect a 3-year-old to make their bed. It's not just telling them what to do, delegating stuff out. It involves so much more than that. We want to make sure that we're helping our family help us. Another thing on this line is, don't underestimate what your children can do. My husband is way better at this than I am. He knows that our kids can handle so much more than what I sometimes think that they can handle. But I took the cue from him, and we give our kids chores. So they might have to vacuum underneath the table. We have one of those like sweeper vacuums that they set the table, they wipe off the table. I usually go over it again, but they empty the dishwasher, they fill the dishwasher, they feed the dog, they feed the fish, they water the plants, although you kind of have to keep an eye on that so that animals and plants don't die. But you can delegate things to your kids. Making their beds, getting dressed, even as young as 3 years old can get dressed. Right now, as I'm recording this, we have 2 3-year-olds in our home, and they get dressed on their own every day. So those are things that you can delegate. Now, you might have to fix a button here or there, or make sure shoes are on the right feet, but for the most part, those are things that kids can do that we sometimes underestimate their abilities. But if you show them how, guide them, they're going to be able to take some of that work off of you. Set your family up for success. Whenever I decided to have our kids start emptying the dishwasher, I started filling the dishwasher differently than if I was going to be emptying the dishwasher. And now that they do that, I'm like, man, I can't remember the days whenever I used to empty the dishwasher on my own, because now I open the dishwasher to fill in dishes from dinner and it's completely empty and I didn't have to do it. So those days can happen for you. You just have to delegate and show your kids what to do, but help them, set them up for success. So don't put knives in the dishwasher. Don't put super heavy pots and pans in the dishwasher. You may even have to rearrange the way that you organize your cabinets. So we used to keep our plates and bowls higher in the upper cabinets, and I decided, you know what, if I'm gonna have them empty the dishwasher and they're going to be setting the table, they need to have those dishes where they can reach. So you put those dishes in the bottom cabinets, they're getting them out and in, they can do it on their own, and you're going to set your kids up for success. Things like hanging up the clothes. So that's something that we do in our home. If you hang your laundry, it's going to be really easy for your kids to just grab the hanger and hook it back up on the rod. Even small kids can do this, and it makes them feel like they've been successful, because instead of trying to fold clothes on their own, which we don't fold clothes at our house, we just hang everything up, but instead of trying to do that, it's easy for them just to hook the hangers. Once or twice a week, I'll have all the kids go and gather around all the empty hangers and bring them back to me. If you set your family up for success, you're going to find that you're going to get more help around the house. You're not nagging them or begging them to help, but they have their job, and they've learned how to do it. They can graduate to certain jobs. So if you have older kids and younger kids, and you really want them to feel some responsibility and just some sense of accomplishment, make sure that you let them know, look, this job, feeding the dog, I gave it to you because I know that you'll be responsible to not ever forget. Where I might not give it to someone, your younger brother or sister, but I know that you will be able to feed the dog every day, because then they kind of puff out their chest a little bit and your kids realize, hey, I can do this. My mom trusts me to do this, and I want to do a good job. Next, I would say to be organized with chore charts. So if this means having just a written thing, or you have it written on with permanent marker on like a dry erase board so the kids can mark off what they do every day, but having something for your children that they can mark off. Kind of crossing off that to-do list. I don't know about you, but whenever I have a to-do list at work, I love being able to cross stuff off, moving stuff off of my list, having it done. It just gives you a sense of accomplishment. And we can do that for our kids too. We can give them a chore chart. Plus, sometimes they forget. You can tell them to do 5 things in the morning, and they might forget, and it's not their fault. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. If you write everything down, they can go back and say, okay, yep, I did this, check it off, and mornings just go so much smoother if you have one of those. And then the last thing that I want to share about delegating to family members is to be positive about the experience, okay? Don't make it begrudging, like, oh, I'm always having to do this myself, and now, I'm going to give this to you because I don't have time to do it. But be excited, be encouraging and positive whenever you are delegating things to your family, especially your kids, because they want to help around the house. And I honestly feel like if you're not giving your kids chores, you're really robbing them of self-accomplishment opportunities where they can show that they are contributing to the family, they show that they are able to complete tasks, and that's something that we want our kids to have. We want them to feel like they are contributing to the family and that they are able and they can be responsible. And once you do that, and I'm not above bribery. So if it means after they've done all their chores for a whole week, they get a sucker or they get their allowance, or if everybody does all their chores for this month, then we're going to go to the water park. Bribery works. If that is what you got to do, figure out what your kids enjoy. Maybe they just want one-on-one time with you, and the kid who, finishes all their chores first gets date with mom or something like that. Think about what you can do to make this a positive experience for your family. So, getting help around the house isn't just delegating to kids and to your spouse, but Getting outside help is not something that you should feel embarrassed about. If that is something you can afford, and I would tell you that if you were willing, if I asked you, would you be willing to substitute one meal out a week for someone to clean up your house? Would you do it? Because that's about how much it costs. If a meal costs $30 to $40, around that, you can get someone to clean your house every week for that amount of money. And so you really just have to decide what you need help with, what you don't like doing. So maybe the biggest thing is laundry. Maybe you want someone to come in and do your laundry for you once a week. Maybe it's just the regular cleaning, like the bathrooms or whatever. Now think about what your time can better be spent doing. So my husband and I, you guys know this, we own a business. I blog and create videos and I have a podcast, and sometimes my time is better spent when I'm at home being just with my kids. And so if I'm not focused on making sure that the tubs are sparkling clean or the floors have been mopped, I can spend more time with my kids. And to me, it seems like a small price to pay to have that peace and not have to worry about, that to-do list that I can just check off and know that someone else is going to take care of it. So you can find maybe someone to help you clean your house, maybe someone like a mother's helper that comes in and just kind of watches your kids while you run errands. Get help. I know sometimes it's really hard to ask. That's definitely me. I am definitely somebody who I really don't like to ask for help. But once you start to do that, you're going to find that your attitude is better, you're more calm, you're happier, and it's going to be worth it. So what you just have to do, whether you are delegating to your kids or to somebody else, is to learn to let go of perfectionism. So you can teach your children exactly what you want, and you can require some standards to be met, but you have to realize that they are not going to do things exactly like you would. The best way to, and this is kind of harsh, but the best way to lose workers is to criticize their work. So if you have all these helpers that your kids are coming alongside you, your husband's coming alongside of you, and you criticize their work, they're not going to want to help. They're not going to continue helping, at least not without a lot of complaining. So an example of this, and this is just really small, but I remember a while back when my kids were small, and I asked my husband to comb my oldest son's hair. He was about 3, I think, at the time, and he didn't do a good job. I mean, it's the first time he'd probably ever combed anybody's hair. My husband's bald, so he's not used to combing hair. As soon as I saw it, I thought, no, I need to fix this. And I went back and recombed his hair, and you know what? Now, if I ask my husband for help, he will do anything but comb hair, because I criticized that and I went back and did it over again. And now that I think back, I mean, where could we have been going that was so important that a 3-year-old had to have his hair perfect? I can't even think of a place, not even church. So just realize that the best way to lose helpers is to criticize their work. Remember that a 3-year-old will not make their bed the same way that you can make it, but they can make their own bed. Yes, I said 3 years old. A 3-year-old can make their own bed. A 3-year-old can get dressed on their own. A 3-year-old can go and pick up their laundry and put it back. I know, because right now we have 2 in our home that are doing all of those things. So make sure that you don't underestimate what your kids can do, but also don't expect perfection from anybody. Don't expect perfection from maybe the lady who's coming in to clean their house. There are going to be times that they miss a spot, or that they forget to do something, or maybe they don't do it exactly the way that you expected. Just learn to let go of it, and you're going to find that your home is going to be a lot more peaceful. Your mind is going to be more peaceful whenever you learn to get help around the house and delegate to the people in your life that can help you. So being well organized and prepared is not just a blessing to your family, but it's for those who come alongside us, who help us, and who are living with us in this life. So it really just takes a humble heart to realize the need for help and then ask for it. This isn't a sign of laziness. It's not a sign of weakness, but of strength, because you're saying, I realize I can't do it all and I need your help. And once we do that, you're going to find that people want to help you. Your kids want to help you. But choosing to not just say, okay, you do this, but giving them the tools to succeed, giving them encouragement and motivation along the way is really going to make a difference in your home whenever you are getting help around the house. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for being here.